Hi folks, Matt Easton here, Schola Gladiatoria. So I just thought I'd do a quick unboxing as I am opening something that I've received anyway. And this is from Easton Blinkhorn in Canada, Ravensbeak Forge, who we've looked at before with this very nice, I would say pipe tomahawk, but it's not actually a functioning pipe on this one. But this is essentially a hammer face. But we've looked at this tomahawk, we've talked about tomahawks. If you haven't seen my videos on tomahawks, really, and you're interested in primary source material, go and have a look at these. But anyway, this is going to be a super short, super quick video, really just unboxing this and having a look at what's in here. So again, the links below, obviously, to Ethan's website and his products. He has been working hard, churning out things for people. Here, so contained in a box. Right, there's a clue I'll show you in a second. So I'll dispense with the box because that's not needed anymore. Very well packed in a box with foam around it, as you can see here. This didn't come through the box, so there's no concern there, but you'll notice there's a spike there. So what could there be in here that might have a spike sticking out? So let's have cut some of this tape. Obviously, I will be doing more videos in the future, further down the line, talking about this thing or these types of things. But as I said, as I hadn't exposed this yet, I thought, oh, this is really nice. So here we go. I will lift it up in front of the screen. This is literally the first time I've opened it and seen it, and you guys as well. So there we go. Look at that formidable thing. So for those of you who don't know, this is a form of tomahawk. Just grab that. You might be more familiar with the hatchet bladed type. You'll notice this one is quite a bit bigger, which I did request a longer, just generally bigger one as well. And this is what's known as a Spontoon hawk or Spontoon tomahawk. Now, as I realized when I made the previous videos, I mentioned Spontoon hawks, and some of the people out there said that they hadn't heard of them before. Or seen them before, which I was a bit surprised about. Not in a, I don't mean that in a patronising way, but just because I thought they were fairly well known. But it turns out not that well known actually. So surprisingly, these weren't that uncommon. I think it's fair to say across the 18th and 19th centuries, the normal hatchet bladed type was more common, but these weren't uncommon. In fact, they turn up in a whole load of period photographs, and there's a bunch of them surviving. So any major American and Canadian museums, there's a bunch of them in Toronto, there's a bunch of them in Washington. So any major museum which has Native American artifacts will very often have Spontoon tomahawks. And as I say, these are shown in the hands of some famous Native American chiefs and warriors who were alive in the 19th century, obviously once photographs were invented from the middle of the 19th century onwards. But indeed, these also appear in paintings going all the way back into the 18th century. Standard features, this is a pipe, this is a functional one. Yeah, so there we go. I'm going to have to buy some tobacco. I did used to smoke, but I haven't smoked for more than 10 years. So there we go. I'll do it for the purposes of science to check that I can smoke, but I can suck the air through there. Yeah, so it's a functional pipe hawk with a mouthpiece at the end there. And it's, as mentioned, it's longer and a bit bigger. The size of this, incidentally, is inspired by surviving examples. I actually went digging, so did Ethan, through a bunch of museum examples and auction examples. So these are available through antique auction trade as well, the original ones. And they do seem to be fairly big. Some of them are really big, bigger than this. Some of them are smaller than this. This is perhaps kind of average size for a Spontoon hawk. Not all Spontoon hawks are the same. Not all of the points, and this is, well, that is nicely sharpened. Not all of these blades are the same shape, and equally not these hooks aren't always the same shape. You'll notice that this one, as Ethan pointed out, is that deliberately modelled on the fleur-de-lis, or fleur-de-lis, depending how you say it. I don't know, but it certainly does look like the French royal emblem. Now, if that was intentional, it could be certain tribes showed allegiance to the French crown and certain tribes had allegiance to the British crown, and obviously other tribes didn't have allegiance to either. But famously in the British-French wars in the North American continent, Native Americans did fight on both sides. So it's not impossible that this is somehow inspired by the fleur-de-lis, or that these were traded by French traders, and these somehow show that these came through French channels rather than British channels. We know the British were certainly making this type. I'm not certain whether the British were making this type. So that's conjecture, we don't know. The other thing to mention is these hooks. You don't always have these hooks on here. I don't know if they have any functional purpose. Could you trap a blade? Could you use it? Yes, possibly. I'll talk about that in the future. Sometimes these hooks are forwards curved, sometimes they're backwards curved. I prefer the backwards curved ones, so that's what I asked for. Additionally, sometimes these blades are pierced with a perforation like a heart shape, or sometimes a series of holes or other shapes. I wanted a solid blade. And also you'll notice that this has some decoration on it. The bowl section is highlighted around here, which is quite a common feature. And there are vertical lines incised on either side here, which again is a pretty common feature. This is nowhere near as nimble as this. This is a lighter, quicker tomahawk, but this is a formidable big weapon. And in the hand, this is akin to my wall hammer, or the war hammer I've had for many years on this channel, or a European medieval mace. This is not heavy. It's a functional, still relatively nimble weight, but this is going to puncture armor. That is going to puncture heavy clothing. Deep into, if you hit an animal with it, like a bear or something, it would certainly go deep into there. So it will have a similar penetrative quality to a spearhead, and it's quite similar to a spearhead, hence the name Spontoon hawk or Spontoon tomahawk. If you're not familiar with the term spontoon, a spontoon is a type of usually sergeants, sometimes lower ranking officers, spear, essentially a partisan. It's a development of the partisan. So the partisan of the 16th and 17th centuries became the spontoon, really, of the 18th centuries, and was a badge of rank, and was still carried up until the Napoleonic Wars, and was certainly carried in the American War of Independence. So there we go, Spontoon hawk. A link below to Ethan Blinkhorn's website, Ravensbeak Forge, and it's nicely, I've just noticed, it actually says Ravensbeak Forge on the side of the blade there. Beautiful thing, lovely wood. I'll talk more about this tomahawk in the future, but the grain, I hope you can see the pattern on that wood. This is specially ordered tomahawk shaft with obviously a tubular section up the centre so you can smoke it. Lovely piece of wood, beautifully hand forged by Ethan, and I'm going to have fun with this. Thanks for watching, check out those links, and I'll see you soon. Cheers folks.